Hello my crafty friends, Tranae here, and today we're going to make a loaded bag for New Year's. Well, it's going to have a New Year's theme, and I'm going to walk you through the process of how I made this bag using a this was a gift bag that I received. So here are some supplies I'm using. My Prima doll that I made, and this is the Mindy doll, and I think she's so cute, and she's paper pieced together using paper. I also have this cutout that is a hip kit exclusive for members. I made this little wand, and I'll have a video up showing you how I made this wand because it was just too much to include all this stuff in this one video. But I will show you guys how I made it in a different video. And I made it using bouillon wire, which is not something I've talked about on my channel before, but I'm going to get into that on the other video. So I also made a bow using the Lawn Fawn die, and I made it from a paper collection that's black tie optional that you see right here. I got this from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using that throughout this project. Also, I made some tags. This tag came from a Hip Kit Club ephemera set, and I just made it like a little shaker with just a little shaker bits. I also made this tag using that bouillon wire, and it's popped up. And last is this tag with the little panda who I love. I love this panda, and I gave him a little bow tie. And those are some stickers from the Take Me Away collection, and I heat embossed him, and so it has like a nice leathery texture. So I made this little pocket, and I included some ephemera and die cuts in there, and I won't dump them out. I will leave them for the recipient to look through, so that'll be like a little element of surprise if this video comes out before she receives her bag. I included some confetti, and I also made this little shaker pocket that says enjoy the little things, because that is one of my goals for the new year, and I think everyone could benefit if they just enjoyed the little things. And I made this shaker using a pocket and the fuse tool, and on the back I added that on with a stencil. So the last little bit is some journaling cards that I included, and I included them in just a black envelope that says adventure, and the journaling cards are all travel themed. They just didn't, the colors didn't go with my bag, so I included them in there. So let's go back to the bag and let's start deconstructing it before we put it together. So I had to take out that little handle, and I wanted it to lay really flat, so I actually went in and pulled the whole thing out. But if you don't need it to lay flat, then you can just clip it off. Plus I wanted that ribbon because I thought I was going to use it, but you'll see I don't end up including it in the project. Okay, so now it's time to put our bag together, and I'm going to be using score tape to seal everything up. But first I'm going to take my eyelet setter tool, I forget the official name for this, and I'm just going to punch a little hole on the side of that bag, and I am going to set the eyelets in there. But as you can see, for some reason I got ahead of myself and I included my tape first, and that is going to cause a little bit of a problem because it's going to be kind of in the way when I go to set that eyelet tool. I should have put that in first, but I wanted some paper on top of it, so I just got ahead of myself with that part, but everything still worked out. So now I'm just testing where I want things to go. I kind of like to seal my bags up on the inside just so the pocket isn't so deep that everything gets lost, because you kind of want to see everything from the front. So I take my score tape and I add a little piece at the bottom, like, well, I guess midway through the bag, so it'll seal half of the bottom part of the bag off. And then I add a little bit of score tape onto the side of those folds so that my wand won't get lost when, sometimes your wand can like bounce around or fall over. But I found that if you include just a little bit of score tape to kind of segment that part, and you can see that's what I'm doing now, and you don't have to go that deep, just at the top, and that will keep everything in place. Okay, so now that we have the foundation of our bag, we're going to start decorating. This is a strip of paper. It is the exact width of my bag, and the length is 1.5 inch. And what I did was I scored it at the 1/2 inch mark, and then I'm using my French scissors to create a little fringe, because I am going to create a skirt for the front part of the bag. And all you do is just go along making your fringes. And I did the other two off camera, so this wouldn't take extremely long. But I am just adding a bottom piece so it would cover the writing, like the label for the bag. And for that last piece, it's gonna be solid. I didn't fringe that because I didn't want that that tag to come through. So now that everything is cut down to size, we just have to secure it to the bag, and I am using glue, hot glue. Yes, this crap burns. I've never used hot glue and not burn my fingers. In fact, I think my fingers have started to kind of get used to it. I might not have fingerprints, like for real. Because I always burn my hand with this stuff. But yeah, if you're making this with hot glue, be careful. Like the name suggests, it is hot. But yeah, it really gets the job done, so I use it. But I am just going to go through, and I am going to secure each of those fringe to my bag. And for the top piece, I am going to line it up and punch the hole in it. You guys remember when I told you that I got a little ahead of myself? Well, this is my solution for that. I took that little tool and pierced it, and then just came over and punched the hole, because it was no way I was getting that tool behind that bag. And thankfully everything lined up, and then I just glued it to the bag. Alright, so now I am going to set that eyelet, and y'all, it was a hope and a prayer getting that thing on there. I did have to kind of like, force it a little bit, and then I followed that up with a little bit of glue. Okay, so let's decorate the back of the bag, and I think this might be my favorite part about this bag. I love this little doll stamp. I've used it before in a planner video, and I will link that video. I will link it up in the little card thing so you can see exactly how I made it, because I did the exact same thing. And I am going to use this little cityscape, and y'all, this girl is about to hit the town for New Year's. She's not staying at home. But the back piece, I am just going to secure it down with some score tape. And then out there I have everything where I want it. I'm going to come in and trim the edges off. I did it this way to ensure that I had a really good fit for my pieces, and it worked out very well. So for the next piece, I am going to kind of play around with it. I am going to have to trim some of those buildings down, just so I can have a better fit. So this layout really wasn't made for it to overlap, so I did have to do some customizing. But as you can see, all you have to do is cut it down a little bit, and then I popped it up on some double foam tape, and all I did was like literally double the foam tape. That's it. And I am just going to stick it in place. I did add another little piece, that black piece that I had left over. As you can see, I added it to the bottom just so that bottom white part would be fully concealed. But I really don't think it mattered in the end. I don't think it would have been too bad. It was just me being anal about how stuff looks. And I did cut down some of those antennas just because when I put my the paper doll up, I didn't want any antennas to be poking and looking weird, just because her legs was gonna go right over it. That, it could have ended badly. We want to keep this PG. So I did trim off those antennas to keep my doll from being impaled. So that is why I removed those. And after I get that down nice and secure, I am going to take that doll and pop her up on some foam dots, pop her up on some foam as well. And I'm just going to do it for the top part of her body, and then like her feet, since they are going to be on the bottom part of that, they didn't need it. All I had to do was glue those down. So that's how I got her on here. So next, I took these little starry sequins and I secured them to the bag using my glue gun. You guys do not, I repeat, do not do that. I don't know what the heck I was thinking when I tried to do it. Like, I was being lazy. I didn't feel like getting up looking for my my glossy accents. Well, it wasn't even a look for it. I knew where it was. I just didn't feel like getting up to get it. So I was like, I'm just going to use this hot glue. If you do this, you will burn yourself. And you will have like these little glue webs everywhere. Yeah, so I secured all those stars down. I'm not going to make you sit through that, but you get the gist. So if you do this project and you have something like that, grab your glossy accents or either some multimedia matte and put it down with that. All right, so after I burnt off all my fingertips and got all those stars on, I wanted to write Happy New Year's. So this black paper is actually chalk. It's chalkboard paper. So I took just a basic chalkboard pen and I wrote Happy New Year's on there. And then I remembered that when you're saying Happy New Year, you don't need to put apostrophe S on there. So I came back and I removed the S and made it an exclamation point. And I'm glad I caught that mistake myself and didn't send it out like that. So yeah, and that was it for the back. So now I am going to jump back to the front of the bag and I am going to add this little black glittery trim, because my thought was to make this kind of look like a skirt, like kind of like the flapper skirts from, I believe that's the 20s era, where they had all the movement and they would often have like a little belt. And originally I planned on putting that little bow right there, but I changed my mind because I felt like it would clash with the little planner charm that I am going to hang on that little loop right there. So I end up not using it, but I do end up using that little charm, which I connected to that using a jump ring and then I put the little charm on the jump ring so she can take it off and actually use it. Okay, so now I am pulling out that black paper again to make a little belly band for some of the tags and stuff that I want to use on the front side. And I am making that tag because I want that little panda bear to look like he's peeking out, because y'all, look how stylish this guy is with his bow tie. But you'll see I had some issues with finding the perfect placement for him, just because that tag was so big and I had him down at the bottom. So I end up pulling him off of that tag and putting him on a tag that's a little bit smaller, same paper and everything. And now I am just taking my scissors and creating a slit in between that that little flap, so that my pocket in the front would be a little bit deeper. And I just use my scissors with that, and now the tags can fit further down in there. And I just arrange my little paper pieces, and that's pretty much it. Right then I was just showing you how I peeled off the panda off with the big tag, and I turned it into like another little tag to kind of match the style of the bag with the little fringe elements. And then that's it. I just stuff everything in there, put all the goodies in, and then I ship it out. So thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you have a happy new year, and I just want to say a big thank you for, you know, all the support that I've received this 2016. I have some big ideas for 2017, and I hope you will be right here along with me, you know, enjoying and crafting and learning and growing, all the things that we do through our crafting. Thank you guys so much. That's it from me. I'll see you later. Bye.